All right, it's time to have this conversation. It's time to talk about the AP poll. The latest and greatest AP poll was released this afternoon. I opened it the minute it came out, and to say that I was appalled by what I saw is an absolute understatement. This list is a burning pile of shit, and it takes a lot for me to use a statement of that magnitude on this show, but this list warrants it. The shoe fits. It's atrocious. I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of the systematic flaws associated with the AP poll in this video. But before I do that, I want to dissect today's list. I want to go through it with a fine-tooth comb and analyze what sticks out to me about this list. And we're going to start on a positive note because this is an optimist show, after all. The glass is always half full on the era. And so the AP poll has Ohio State and Miami at number 1 and number 2 respectively. I have no problems with that. I would have those teams in that order on a list of my own. And, foreshadowing, I will have that on the BGG poll this week. Check it out. It's once you get below that 2 spot that I've got a lot to say, that I feel like this list really unravels. The AP poll has the Penn State Nittany Lions as the number 3 team in the nation. And I want to preface this by saying that I have a lot of respect for Penn State. I have a lot of respect for James Franklin and the program that he's built there, the culture that he's carefully crafted at Penn State. And I think he's fielding his best team yet this year, and this team has a lot of potential to do some real damage in the college football playoff. But right now, they are ranked over LSU. They're ranked over Georgia, who just recently went into Neyland Stadium and beat the Tennessee Volunteers, who are very good this year. They're ranked above Oregon, and they're ranked above Oklahoma, who has beaten not 1, but 2 AP top 25 teams this year, and it's only September. So the question is, what has Penn State done to keyword earn, to keyword secure the number 3 spot in the entire nation? Well, they annihilated Florida International. They really stuck it to Villanova, who a lot of people don't even know has a football team. Yes, Villanova is more than just a basketball school. They do indeed have a football team, and Penn State destroyed them. A lot of respect for this Penn State team, but they have no business being above LSU, being above Georgia, being above Oregon, or being above Oklahoma, or being above Texas A&M, for that matter, who went into South Bend and beat Notre Dame, who was just in the national championship last year. All right, let's scroll down to the number 10 spot on this list, where the Texas Longhorns lie. Yes, according to the AP poll, the Texas Longhorns are a top 10 team in the nation. They are ranked above Indiana, who just not only beat, but absolutely dog-walked a fellow AP top 25 team in Illinois. They beat the Fighting Illini 63-10. They hung 9 touchdowns on an AP top 25 team, a team in Illinois that was considered to be a real contender in the Big Ten. Texas is also ranked above Texas Tech, who went into Salt Lake City, went to Rice-Eccles Stadium, and pretty soundly beat the Utah Utes, who have a reputation as an excellent football program under Kyle Whittingham. And they're ranked over Ole Miss, who I think have one of the best offenses in the entire nation. You saw what it did against Arkansas. You saw what they did against Tulane yesterday. And I know I'll hear back, oh, well, it's just Tulane. No, it's not just Tulane. Tulane was forecasted by many to be one of the best G5 teams in the nation. They're expected to be a potential playoff team this year. They went to Oxford, they went to Vaught Hemingway, and they found out. But yet Texas is ranked above those 3 teams. And also those 3 teams, Indiana, Texas Tech, and Ole Miss, they're all undefeated. So is Iowa State, number 14. Texas is 3-1. And I know their only loss is to the number 1 team in the nation, Ohio State, the defending national champion. But the fact of the matter is Texas looked anemic against Ohio State. And I know that was a tough game to start the season off with, but it was still very concerning how they looked. It took a while for them to get cooking against San Jose State. That offense was flat for most of the game against UTEP. And I know they made a statement against Sam Houston State, which, is expected. But for anybody who, another keyword here, watches these games, you would know that Indiana, Texas Tech, and Ole Miss have looked a lot better than Texas this year. All right, let's scroll down to the number 22 spot. This is one that I really have a bone to pick with. Notre Dame, sitting at 1-2, is the number 22 team in the nation according to the AP poll. I say this because Mississippi State is unranked. Mississippi State is undefeated, and Mississippi State has a win over, at the time, the number 12 team in the nation, according to the AP poll, in Arizona State. Yet they sit unranked, and Notre Dame, with 2 losses, 1-2 in September, they are sitting at number 22 in the nation. And I know that Notre Dame's 2 losses are to 2 really good ranked teams, and I think that Notre Dame is a fantastic team this year as well. I think they can get together. You know how I feel about Marcus Freeman's program up in South Bend. I know they lost to Miami, they lost to Texas A&M. They're great teams this year. But the fact that they're sitting at 1-2 right now, and they're ranked, that's absolutely beyond me. And I think that Notre Dame is one of the only teams out there who could ever find themselves in that position. Oh, and not to mention, they were still ranked when they had yet to have a win this year. When they were sitting at 0-2, the AP still had them ranked. They still had Mississippi State and TCU at the time unranked. TCU is now finally ranked, as they should be. But the AP poll just favors certain logos. And I know that's not a surprise to anybody, but your Notre Dames, your Alabamas, your Ohio States, the AP poll will do anything and find any reason to keep those teams on the list, and they will find any reason to take your Mississippi States, your Vanderbilts, your Illinois, your Indianas, your Arizona States off the list. Oh, and not to mention, I can't forget this one, BYU is sitting at number 25 in the nation, also above Mississippi State. You know who BYU's beaten this year? They've beaten Portland State, they've beaten Stanford, who sucks, and they've beaten East Carolina. Mississippi State has a top 25 win on their resume. Oh, and Arizona State. When Mississippi State beat Arizona State, who was number 12 at the time, Arizona State went from number 12 not to 19, not to 22, no. They fell straight off the face of the earth, straight off the AP top 25 poll. Unbelievable. The AP poll never wanted them there to begin with. Like I said, they're looking for any reason to take Arizona State off. They found it. They dropped them. And for anybody who, once again, keyword, watches these games, watches college football, knows college football and its traditions and its pageantry and its history, you know that Davis-Wade Stadium is a very challenging place to play. With the cowbells, they always bring in the energy in Starkville. You will bake that into the evaluation of Mississippi State's victory over Arizona State, and you would keep them on this list if you knew what you were watching, if you knew what it takes to go into Davis-Wade Stadium and get a win. And I know the rebuttal, I'll get back on that. Oh, it's Mississippi State. They're one of the worst teams in the SEC. Are they this year? They're still undefeated. Who's to know? Who's to say? They didn't look great last year, but this is a new year. This is a very tough place to play. And to drop a team who was just in the CFP, who just won the Big 12, who there's a lot of expectations for this year, who still has a great roster, to take them from 12 to off the list is unreal. All right, let's get into the fundamental flaws associated with the AP poll. I've done enough grilling of this week's list. The biggest thing that stands out to me is that expectation and projection is baked into the list every week, is factored into the list every week. The AP poll and the people that vote on it, they have a vision for how this season's going to go, how it's going to unfold, what teams will be on the mountaintop at the end of the day. But for anybody who, once again, keyword, watches college football, you know this is a chaotic sport. And oftentimes, many of your preseason favorites don't do shit, or they fall way short of expectations. Look at Florida State last year. Look at Clemson so far this year. The people who vote on this poll, they expect a certain outcome, and that's reflected by the order of these rankings. Whereas you just have to let the season happen and let the season dictate who's ranked where. That's one fundamental flaw. Another fundamental flaw with the system associated with the AP poll is that a lot of the people that vote on this poll, they don't watch football that much. They don't watch college football that much. And so the question is, who votes on this poll? Well, it's a collection of broadcasters and journalists from across the nation, which is fine and dandy. But one thing you got to keep in mind is that a lot of these people who vote on the AP poll, they're beat reporters for one specific team. Kind of like Haley Sawyer, who got grilled a few weeks ago for moving Florida up a few spots and not having South Florida ranked after South Florida beat Florida. She clearly didn't watch the game. But she's also a USC beat reporter. And so her job every Saturday is to be locked in to USC Trojans football and provide thorough evaluation of what she saw. So she's dialed into USC. She might not have watched the South Florida game. She may not have had time. And I get that. But somebody like that shouldn't be voting on this poll. There's a lot of beat reporters. USC beat reporters, Penn State beat reporters, Alabama beat reporters. They're responsible for covering those teams, not watching other games. But this list, what you're asking of people, is a comprehensive analysis of the entire field. Power 4 and G5. So people who are watching college football from a bird's eye view, not just being locked into one team. And quite frankly, a lot of the people who are on this committee, a lot of people who do vote on the AP poll, like I said, they clearly don't watch a lot of college football. They're not as passionate about the game as some other people are out there. And so that's the problem. But on this show, we're not all about the problem. We're also about the solution as well. What's the solution? There should be a vetting system for the people who vote on the AP poll every year. It should take place before the season starts. It should be an examination. Maybe it's a mixture of multiple choice and short answer. Maybe it's just short answer. Maybe it's just multiple choice. But there should be an examination about the game's history, what took place last year, what's expected to take place this year, what roster changes took place, what rosters look like, just everything about teams out there, storylines out there, expectations going into the season, rosters, coaches, everything. There should be a comprehensive exam that everybody who secures the right to vote for this poll has to take before they do so. And that will expose who, quote-unquote, knows ball and deserves to vote for this poll and who doesn't. Number 2, there should be more people out there like your Josh Pates, like your Andy Staples, like your Ari Wassermans, like your Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered, like the hosts of that SEC podcast, like the hosts of Solid Verbal. There should be more people like that out there who love ball, who are obsessed with this game, who eat, sleep, and breathe college football, voting on the AP poll. Those are the opinions that I want to hear. And people who know what they're talking about. You know, your Joe Klatz, your Alyssa Langs, for example. Those are the people that I want voting on this poll. People whose opinions are credible because they watch these games and they know what's happening. I look at these rankings and I can tell that a lot of people just have not watched these games. Why would you have Penn State at number 3? Why would you have Texas in the top 10? Why would you still have Notre Dame ranked? Why would you have Mississippi State unranked? I mean, South Florida only has 1 loss. Arizona State only has 1 loss. Memphis, you could say, could potentially deserve a spot. The system needs to be changed. We're at a time in sports media where there's a lot of people like myself who are heavily invested in this sport and do a lot of research and do a lot of analysis. And I'm by no means saying that I deserve to be voting for the AP poll yet. That's on my bucket list. I've got to earn that. I've got to get there. cross the threshold of 1,000 subscribers, but I have a lot of work to do to gain that kind of credibility. But people like me out there who put the work in and do the research and at the end of the day just love this game and are obsessed with the game of college football, those are the people that should be voting on the AP poll. That is all. That is all I had to say. Let me know what y'all think about this take in the comment section below, about my analysis of the comment section below. And if there's any critiques of the AP poll that I didn't talk about, that you saw, please let me know your opinion in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to interact. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.